Namaste and welcome to presentation on learning curve. The learning curve theory basically deals with labor efficiency. It says the more the task is done over time, the effort to complete a task should take less time and effort. It goes by the proverb, practice makes man perfect. The more you do, the more efficient you become, and you get to know a better way of delivering by using less time and effort. It is depicted in the form of a graph. A learning curve is a visual representation of change in production efficiency over time. Means the more and more you do, less and less time you spend on per unit production, and that is shown by this curve. This is the learning curve. It shows as you move from production of 1 unit, 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit. Each time the per unit time that you take, it keeps falling. For example, when you produce the only 1 unit, the first unit, the time taken by you is 4 hours, let us take. When it doubles to 2, your average time taken per unit will come down from 4 to say 2.4, say 60% of it. And when you move from 2 to 4, the average will come down from 2.4 to say 1.5. Once again, it may be 60% of whatever we are doing at 2 units level. A learning curve indicates how your efficiency is getting you the benefit of saving in time, effort, and consequently the cost. And the shape. When it moves from 4 to 2.4, you will see the shape is very steep. It is improving. The cost is falling steeply. And as you move further, the slope gets less steeper and it becomes almost horizontal, and a time may come it may be negative. And it is required for a company to identify where does it stand while producing different units of production. Is the curve steeper? Means there is scope for improvement. Is the curve getting more flatter? Means we are reaching maturity or saturation. And is the curve against us? Means we are facing decline. And based on the nature of the curve, you can decide as to what remedial action is required to be taken. The learning curve essentially will pass through 3 different phases. The first phase is generally steep. If you can just see the phase from here to here, it is really steeping, and when it is steep, it means your savings are very aggressive. You are improving in your performance and productivity at a very faster rate. And as you move forward in the second phase, it becomes slightly flatter. The learning rate will gradually deteriorate because of the limitations of the equipment. Because once it is just like driving a vehicle, at the pickup stage, it will be very fast acceleration. As you go to one speed, then it will go at a standard level of speed. We are talking of second phase at that point in time. When you have become an expert in your job, there is less scope for improvement and saving in time, you are in third phase. The production rate almost stabilizes and it might be on the verge of getting reduced. Maybe there is a restriction in the market for the product, or there may be some constraints with the machinery or with the way we do it. That's all talking of stagnation or working against savings. Now these are the three phases, and normally this curve is identified by a percentage, and which is known as learning curve ratio. For example, if you see here now, it is 4 at 1. When 1 becomes double, it comes to 2.4. If you look into 4 and 2.4, the ratio is 60%. Similarly, when it goes from 2 to 4, the average rate might come to say 1.5 or 1.6, and that ratio once again is say 60%. The logic it says is every time the production gets doubled, there will be certain percentage of saving in the average time, and in this case we say it is 60%. It may also be indicated as 80% depending on the steepness of the curve, and 80% means every time output doubles, the average cost declines to 80% of the previous amount. Means every time here when it declines to 60% of 2.4, and when it declines further, when it is doubled, it comes to 1.6. Means every time output doubles, the average cost declines to 80% of the previous amount. This is a thumb rule, and that is how we interpret a learning curve. So to say, if the first unit, if this is taking say 100 hours, then after the second unit, we might take only 80 hours if the percentage is 80. If the percentage is 60, we might take only 60 hours. This is how we interpret a learning curve. What do we do after interpreting? When we interpret, when we know where we stand in terms of learning curve, as a company, we will be able to plan our marketing, plan our material movement, plan our work scheduling, plan our recruitment, plan all mobilization of resources so that you have got in-time inventory, in-time people, nothing missing, nothing accumulating. And that is the advantage of learning curve, which helps you plan better. And second, when we do standard costing and budgetary control, we will incorporate the savings expected based on the learning curve. We will incorporate the impact. Impact will be in terms of how much time we will save every time we increase production or we double the production in terms of our budgetary figures. This is the overall view of learning curve and its utility. And as you will see, it is more concerned with labor efficiency and saving in labor. And since labor hours are the basis for charging of various other variable overheads, it also affects the overheads. Therefore, monitoring hours or deriving hours based on learning curve is one of the essential requirements of a good costing system. Coming to the illustrations that we have 4 illustrations to look into. Let us take a regular order into account. This is a June 19 examination question. We can just get going. Dandiya Limited is a company, manufacturing company, received an order for 16 units of a new product. The total order quantity is 16 units. And so far we have manufactured 4 units. We have manufactured 4 units out of the order of 16. And the first unit means when you say 4, I start with 1, double it, 2, double it, 4, double it, 8, double it, 16, double it, 32. This is how the production units are recorded while computing labor hours. Therefore, when I say 4 units manufactured, I can work back and then say, okay, the first unit is 1, then I double it. Same way, it keeps on doubling level to level. The first unit required 40 direct labor hours. Average time, what we took for the first unit is 40 hours. And a total of 102.4 direct labor hours has been recorded for the 4 units. When I reached 4 units, I recorded 102.4 hours as the labor hours for the 4 units. How do we arrive it? We will arrive it separately. The production manager expects an 80% learning curve effect. Means whenever we do computation of labor hours, you need to understand what is the percentage of learning effect. Is it 80%, 90%, 60%? Here it is given as 80%. This is the input for deriving the efficiency levels and at what level we need how many hours. We know that our order is for 16. We have manufactured 4. And at the first level, we know how much we are requiring average time. And at 4th level, how much we have spent. Now let us get into further action required from our side. Let's understand now. Item number 1, first unit. Then we make it 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. This is how we populate the production units while duplicating or doubling each level. Then we go to first one. 40 hours is the initial direct labor for the first unit. For the first unit, our learning effect will not be there. It will be always taken at 100%. This point you have to remember very clearly. First unit will be at 100% learning effect. There will be no discount or no gains at that level. Therefore, 40 into 100% for the first unit will be 40. But from the second unit onwards, second level onwards, when you double, this takes effect. Learning effect will take effect. And at each subsequent level, 80%, 80%, 80%, 80%. This logic we have to understand. At column number weight, we will have first item production at 100% efficiency, and then learning curve effect will be at the rate of 80% at each subsequent levels. And 40 at 100% is 40, and this is carried forward as opening balance for the next level, and that is applied at 80%. 40 into 80% becomes 32. Means when we manufacture 2 units, our average time will come down from 40 to 32. What happens if I manufacture 4 units? I carry forward 32 to next level, and that 32 is further applied by 80%. It becomes 25.60. Shifted to 25.60. If you manufacture 8, average per unit will be 25.6 into 8, 20.48. When you manufacture 16 units, it will be 20.48 into 80%, 16.38. Then 16.38 for the next level, it becomes 13.11. Now, how do we work out? It's simple. What is the total time taken? This is average time taken, B into C. We know how is B coming at each subsequent level and what is the average time. Average time is B into C. What is the total time? Average time into number of units. 1 into 40, 40. 2 into 32, 64. 4 into 25.6, 102.4. You have to understand here now, you got 102.4. This is what was indicated when they said the first unit required 40 direct labor and a total of 102.4 direct labor hours has been recorded for 4 units. We are just highlighting in this column there, in this row. Then 20.48 into 8, 163.84, 16 into 16.38, 262.14. Similarly, we come to 32, 16.38 into 13.11 is 419.43. Means this is the total hours required, that is A into D, at each level of production. For 1 unit 40, for 2 64, for 4 102.4, for 16 262.14. Now we have come up to this level. Let us proceed further. You are required to produce an estimated product cost for the initial order. What is my initial order? My initial order is for 16 units. For 16 units, I have calculated my workings. Let us take for 16 units, what is the direct material? Per unit, it is 30. Therefore, I put 30. Then, second, the 16 is what we had received the order. 262.14 is the labor hour for 16 units. This is what we get here. This labor hour is used for direct labor, for variable overhead, and for fixed overhead. We put these hours against each of these. For direct labor, the norm is 262.14. And as per the input given, direct labor is 6 per hour. I put 6 per hour. And variable overhead is 50 paise per hour. And fixed overhead apportioned is 5 per hour. Now I am asked to prepare an estimation of product cost comprising material, labor, overhead, and this is crucial, which we derive from this statement of computation of labor hours for 16 units. 16 into 30, 480, 262.14 into 6, 1572.84, 262 into half, 131.07, 262 into 5 is 1310.7, and total cost is 3494.61. This is the process of using learning curve to derive estimated cost. With this, the problem is you are required to produce an estimated product cost for the initial order based on the cost data given. We have found out the cost. The cost is rupees 3494.61 for the total number of 16 units, which is the quantity of order received. We will take up now another illustration which talks of incremental orders. And in case of incremental orders, we normally make use of the marginal costing. This we have to keep in mind. And one more point that you need to remember is when you use marginal costing, you do not consider the sunk costs or fixed costs which are kept outside to be recovered out of the normal contribution. Let us take up Radiance Engines Limited manufacture engines mounting for Akash Airlines. They have been asked to bid for a prospective contract of 30 engines for the just aircraft. They have just completed an initial run of 10 of these mounting at the following costs. We have to remember one thing now. There are two things. One, we have already manufactured 10. We are expecting an order for 30. Means our total production order will be 40, of which 10 we have already covered under first order. we are getting an incremental order for 30. Effectively, our production order overall put together will be 40. Keep this in mind, and this is 10 is a regular order and 30 is an incremental order. Taking that into account, we will go ahead, and 80% learning curve is thought to be pertinent in this case. We take 80% learning. We know 10 and 30. Now, we have always known that when you go for production of units, here you are starting with the 10, it should always double 10, 20, 40. Where is 30 coming into picture? Where we use the word incremental. Incremental means from 10 we go to 40, there is an incremental effect of 40 minus 10 equals 30. This point you may have to remember very clearly. This problem is important for that reason. What it says, direct labor, we use 2000 hours in respect of 10 mounting machines. For 10, you used 2000 hours means per machine, previous average time, per unit, how much did you use? You used 2000 divided by 10 is 200. Once you use 200, first will be always at 100%. You put 200, shift that. Now apply 80%. It becomes 160. You move 160 as opening. At 40 level, so 160 into 80, 128. Now you have derived the cumulative average time. Next is simple posting. What is 30? 30 is first level minus third level is 30. 40 minus 10 is 30. When it comes to values, now we have 200 into 10, 2000. 20 into 160, 3200, 40 into 128, 5120. When you derive these values, we find that B minus A, 5120 minus 2000 is 3120. 3120 pertains to 30 units. This is how we have to just understand. Total time for 10 units is 2000 hours. For 40 units, it will be 5120. Since we are continuously producing, if 10 is costing us 2000, out of 5120, balance will be costing towards 30 units, which is 3120. From here, we just prepare statement of estimation of incremental cost. How many units? Incremental 30 units. And what is the hours in respect of 30 units? 3120 hours that we have got. Direct material 7000 in respect of 10 means per unit it will be 700, and here it will be per hour 4 rupees per hour. 4 into 3120, 50 paise per labor hour, 3120. Fixed overhead, this is where the question comes. Fixed overhead, we have already run one batch, and this fixed overhead is already covered by the first batch of 10 units. Therefore, for the new unit, differential unit, it will not be there and fixed cost will be 0. This is where we said we are using the marginal costing approach when it comes to incremental costs. And going by that, fixed cost will be 0 as it is already recovered in the first lot. And we now multiply 30 into 700, 3120 into 4, 3120 into 50 paise, total is 35,040. Now, what the question asks, at 80% learning curve, it is thought to be pertinent in this case. Marketing director believes that the quotation is unlikely to be accepted if it exceeds 38,000. My cost is 35,040 and I am not going to cross 38,000. And as the company are short of work, he believes the contract to be vital. Since we have got idle capacity, we are using the incremental approach or marginal cost approach. And as per the marginal costing approach, we have got the variable cost of 35,040, and the market can get us 38,000. We can accept 38,000 because it gives us additional contribution of 38,000 minus 35,040. Therefore, our answer will be, you are required to comment whether it is worth accepting. Yes, 38,000 is acceptable, being above the incremental cost of 35,040, and this solution comes by using the learning effect of the learning curve. We are taking up an order in respect of the labor cost component of it, and we are treating it as a repeat order. It is illustration number 4. A firm received an order to make a supply of 8 units of standard product, which involves intricate labor operations. The first unit was made in 10 hours. The first unit was made in 10 hours, and we require 8 units. And what is the total time and labor cost required to execute the above order? That is the question. Now, as we saw, when we comes to production, we normally keep on doubling line by line, 1, 2, 4, 8. And we have got one more order for 24 units also. 24 plus 8 is 32, means 8, 16, 32. This is how we proceed for the sake of our calculation. 1 to 8 to 16 to 32. Okay. For the first unit, we used 10 hours. For the first unit, we used 10 hours. It is understood that this type of operation is subject to 80% learning curve. Our learning curve effect is 80%. Now, first unit will be at 100%, subsequent will be all at 80%. This is how we post these 80% requirements. Then it is a matter of zigzag operation of the stock. 10 units for the second, 10 into 80, 8 hours. Then 8 into 80, 6.4, 6.4 into 80, 5.12, 5.12 into 0.8, 4.1, and 4.1 into 80% is 3.28. We have got the cumulative average time. Once we get the cumulative average time, we are at it now. A firm received an order to make a supply of 8 units. What is the total time and labor cost required to execute the above order? Order of 8 units. What is the hours? Hours are simple. 10 into 1, 10. 8 into 2, 16. 6.4 into 4, 25.6. 5.12 into 8 is 40.96. The first question asks us, what is the total time required to execute the above 8 units? For 8, the total time required is 40.96. And what is the rate? It is understood that this type of operation is subject to 80% learning curve, and the workers are getting wages at the rate of 12 per hour. We get 12 per hour as the rate. Therefore, for an order of 8 units, direct labor of 40.96 at the rate of 12, the labor cost will be 491.52. Then, after this 8 units are produced, if you get one more order for 24 units, what will be your labor rate? Now, we are a company. We have been working and we have already manufactured 8. We want to manufacture another 24, means our total production will be 32. At 32, what will be our labor? It will be 104.86. We have to find out how much we are spending labor for 24 units. We have to simply say first level, second level. For 32, total is 104.86. Out of this, For 8 units, we have used 40.96. 104.96 minus 40.96 is equal to 63.9, which is used on 32 minus 8, 24 units. Coming to the second question, if a repeat order of 24 units is also received from the same customer, what is the labor cost? Labor cost will be, number of hours will be 63.9, rate is 12, and the cost will be 766.77. This is not a question of marginal costing, that you may have to remember. This is a question of cumulative orders which are coming together, and we need to find out how much labor we are spending. And since the quantity has to double from one to the other, we have to make note of this and find out how do I get 24? 24 is 32 minus 8. That way, we are answering the question. The total time and labor cost required to execute the above order is 40.96 hours at the rate of 12, 491.52. If repeat order for 24 units is received, I will be spending 63.9 hours at the rate of 12. It will be 766.77. With this, we will go to one more illustration where there are two orders. They are alternate orders. You may get order number 1 or order number 2. It is also simple. Illustrate the use of learning curves for calculating the expected average unit cost of margin when the order size is 4 machines or when the order size is 8 machines. We will have both options. And for 4 and 8, we start with 1, 2, 4 and 8. Direct labor needed to make the first machine is 1000 hours. First machine will be at 100% and learning curve is 90. Second machine, it will be 1000 into 90, 900. 4 units, we double 1, 2, 4, 8. 900 into 90, 810. 8 unit. 8 units, it is 810 into 90%, 729. That's how it works. Now, when we start doing the total time, 1000 into 1, 2 into 900, 1800, 4 into 810, 3240, 8 into 729, 5832. Now, we are at a stage where we have got the basic table of learning curve. What it asks, for 4 machines, what is the cost? Direct material cost is 1,50,000 for the first machine, means per machine the rate is 1,50,000. Number of machines is 4. We have put 4. 4 into 1,50,000. And the labor hours in respect of 4 is 3,240. And the rate per hour is 15. 15 into 3,240 is 48,600. There is a fixed cost of 60,000. And if you receive an order for 4 machines, the amount that you will charge is 7,08,600, means per machine you will charge 1,77,150. Now, instead of 4 machines, you receive an order for 8 machines. What happens? Once again, this is not incremental. They are alternate, either this or that. If the order size is 8, I know 8 per unit material cost remains the same, 1,50,000. Rate per hour remains 15. Number of hours for 8 units will be 5,832. 5,832 into 15. 1,50,000 into 8 is 12 lakhs. 15 into 5,832 is 87. 480. Fixed cost is there. As I have said already, it is not marginal costing. They are two different orders. And we have an option of either taking this or taking that. And in both cases, we have to recover fixed cost. The total cost for 8 machines will be 13,47,480 divided by 8. the cost will be 1,68,435. Effectively, what we are suggesting is if I receive an order for 4 machines only, I can quote 1,77,150 plus profit. As, whereas if I receive the order for 8 machines, I can offer instead of 1,77,000, I can offer at 1,68,435 plus profit. And this saving between the two, as you will see, it has not come from fixed cost. Fixed cost is already there. It has not come from materials because material cost is fixed at 1,50,000. The saving has come from the average hours which are used. In case of 4, average is 810. 810 into 4 is 3,240. Whereas in case of 8 machines, the average is going to be 729 into 8, 5,832. This saving is mainly because of the learning effect. And the learning effect makes higher quantity at a lower cost so that we can compete in the market with a better price. This is how the question is. Illustrate the use of learning curve for calculating the expected average units. Cost of making 4 machines is average 1,77,150 and cost of making 8 machines using the data is 8 machines is 13,47,000. Average price is 1,68,435. The reduction is mainly due to the saving in the average time spent because of the learning effect. Thus, we have seen 4 illustrations. One, a regular order. Second, there was an incremental order. We took the differential amount. Here it was a repeat order. And last one was 2 independent orders. These illustrations will help you understand the nature of learning effect on different types of orders. That way, we have seen all the 4 options. Hope you loved the presentation. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.